big matchup. We got the Timberwolves versus the Nuggets, and I think we finally gonna get a real good series out of this. Last year, I was like, I think it was, I think the Nuggets. I was like, I think the Nuggets get a gentleman's sweep. I think it was, I was like 4-1. Uh, but they said last year that the Timberwolves were their hardest out or matchup throughout the whole playoffs last year on the way to a championship. And I don't see this year at all taking away that. One, because Anthony Edwards is on another level than he was last year. So you already have that. Two is that they have two players that they did not have last year in Nas Reed and Jaden Daniels. And I think those are already big enough upgrades to take on the Nuggets. Three, I think they also figured out how to mesh well with each other. Was last year, I think it was a whole struggle last year of figuring out how to do the two 7-footers in there. I was like, Anthony Edwards trying to take over while with Cat also sort of like pulling back. Uh, them figuring out the rotations, I was like Nikhil Alexander Walker coming on and stuff like that. Where now this year's more solidified. Um, I was like, I think they just got more settled in this year with their team. Their defense is a lot better than it was last year as well. Um, and I think that their team dynamic is that of they showed even though it was against Phoenix and Phoenix is sort of a mess that Anthony Edwards doesn't have to carry the load. He doesn't have to be the primary scorer. Also because the team is so well rounded in that type of way. I also think that you have a mix of three people you can throw on. You could throw on to Nikola Jokic, whereas the Lakers only had Anthony Davis, to be honest. Yes, they tried Jackson Hayes for a spurt, Rui Hachimura there at times, but they didn't have. I was like, they either didn't have like the size as far as the length, or they didn't have the mass. Where I'm like, these three with Nas Reed and Cat and Rudy can do that. Does that mean that Nikola Jokic won't get his? No, because I was like, when you're a top player, you always get some form of yours. But that means you got to work harder. That means there's more you got to do. I was like, I'm like, you want them to get tired out. And at least with Nas Reed and Cat, when those are the matchups, if they decide to be at the 5 or something like that, they score that will keep Jokic a lot more honest. I was like, has gotten better where they got better with him being not played off the court. And to be honest, I was like, I think that unless Jokic is out of the game, I think that's the only time Rudy might actually come off the court. Uh, kind of like the Nuggets will go small. I was like, well, guess what? Technically, the Timberwolves, their version of small is those two at the 5. I also think I think they did match up really well too. I was like, Nikhil Alexander is going to be on Jamal Murray. Mark Conley probably going to be on Caldwell Pope, and but I was like those two match up really well. I was like Alexander the better defender than anything that the Lakers had at the guard spot, while also being I was like he is their Caldwell Pope if you want to think about it. I was like the defender and basically spot up and shoot threes. I was like he is sort of their Caldwell Pope. Uh, Conley, I was like, I think someone who's a lot more consistent than what you're probably going to really get from like how D'Lo was playing. Uh, I was like Jaden Daniels. 6'9", 6'10", covering Michael Porter, who's 6'10". I was like, can also shoot and score in the same facet that he can as well too. They got that matchup. Then at the 4, I was like, I think it's going to be a little bit more tough sledding for Cat to guard Aaron Gordon, but I think with Nas Reed in there, I think then that's sort of a wash. Uh, Also, too, or if you got Kyle Anderson, I'm like, uh, I was like, that's an intriguing matchup at that 4 spot as well. Uh, or sometimes at the 3, they decide to play like that type of spot. I was like, I think they match up really. I think they match. I haven't even got to. I was like, I haven't even put Anthony Edwards in the start lineup. So I was like, I think they match up really well. Uh, really well with them. I was like, because I'm trying to think, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Connolly. I was like, their matchup is probably Connolly, Edwards, McDaniels, Cat, uh, uh, Cat and Rudy Gobert with Nas and Nikhil Alexander coming off the bench to Christian Braun and Peyton Watson and I guess sometimes Reggie Jackson coming off the bench. But I think they match up really well. I think this will be a tough out for the Nuggets. I think the Timberwolves will beat the Nuggets. I think it'll be 6. But I just think that I'll put it like this. I don't think that they could play like how they played against the Lakers versus this Timberwolves team. Because I think that, like I said, the thing that downfall with the Lakers is their consistency, is their other players. And I don't fear the same thing of and I was like and also their defensive consistency as well too, and not just their offense. And I'm like, at least with the Timberwolves, you know their defense is going to be there. And to me, I was like, even though the numbers look great, I was like, Nikola did have time struggle. I was like, with his shot. I was like, it didn't seem like it, but I was like, there was times that it's like if you watch the games, I was like, he wasn't hit everything like how he was last year. Like last year, I think he was on another one. And I was like, Jamal Murray had tough scoring stretches as well too. Uh, I just think their execution was a lot better of playing against the Lakers, and I think that I was like they stuck to what they were doing. They didn't let them missing the Nuggets didn't let them missing shots change what they were doing. If that makes sense. Like they stuck to their plan where it's like the Lakers would be like, we're gonna do the pick and roll. Then they abandoned it. We're going to the Anthony Davis. We abandoned it. D'Angelo Russell hot looking on the ball. Abandoned it. That's what I'm saying. Uh, but I think that the Phoenix series had prepared the Timberwolves, and I was like, I know it wasn't like it's like they were just really blowing them out, and it's like, yeah, but that don't mean that you ain't practicing what you're doing and going through what you need to do while you're playing these series. And I think they sort of been able to be like, okay, cool. If Anthony is like, if he doesn't got it here, and he's pulling it over here. He's being like, okay, cool. I'm gonna do more defense and stuff like that. Uh, I was like, Carl hasn't been as well, and we'll see how this goes in this game because he didn't have the same matchup of being foul prone in the same way as he's been in the past. Uh, but no, I think this is one of the more intriguing second matchups that I was like second round matchup we're getting. Uh, where it's actually like I also wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets won. Uh, in saying that, I was like, we're really playing like really like threading hairs at this point. But I just think that I was like, I could just see that the defense for the Timberwolves might be their calling card. Um, while everybody improving on, I was like, I think you're gonna have to ask a lot out of Braun and Aaron Gordon and Caldwell Pope to really step up. I think you're going to get Murray and you're going to get Jokic to do what they do, And I think Porter, the way he shoots threes, are all sporadic and out of whack, and he can just rise up. I think you're going to get it from him as well too. I think it's the others that you're going to have to get it out of that I think that you. And don't get me wrong, I was like, and not at the temple, because I'm like, look, I was like, Cat could get into his own thing where it's like he's really a wild card to me in all this. That I'm like, if he's playing as good as we think he can, I think that will put the Timberwolves over. You know, I'm not saying that McDaniels or Conley can't like struggle in these series as well too. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I'm like, I trust more in their defensive concept than I do with like Porter. You know, I was like, that can sometimes go headhunting and just be out here for shots. And while he was on fire against the Lakers, but I was like, shooting sometimes like that don't carry over is what I'm going off of. And I was like, their bench unit. And I was like, better than the Lakers, but what's that really saying? The Lakers was garbage. So anyway, we're gonna see how game one goes. I was like, that's in my early prediction. We'll see how things happen if anything changes. Within the concept of the game. But until then, anyway, I'm out.